I'll continue, but we're going to wrap it up fairly shortly for tonight because we'll be talking to a lot more people, of course, over the weekend. Let us finish with two, or rather start this new version with two ladies. Formerly Rosaleen Fitzsimons, now Rosaleen Kiernan, and also formerly Siobhan Manning, and now Siobhan Hetherington. Is that the right way to say it? We'll start with you. Rosaleen, I don't remember you at school because obviously I was way ahead of you. What year did you start and what year did you finish?
Oh, I started in 64, yeah. And I must have finished in 70. School closed in 71. I finished the year before it closed. So that was it. Great days. I don't remember so much the classroom, but I remember the fun. Coming and going, that was more important.
Yeah. You're telling us now that there were great days. Tell the truth, did you like it?
I don't remember a whole lot about the classroom. It was great fun outside and there was great fun coming to it. And I remember Lorcan Kennedy nipping me. Other than that, I don't remember much else.
Nipping you?
Oh, very severely. I had marks for weeks after him.
Right, so you may as well tell us now, where did he nip you?
On the hands, no place else. No. Not going to tell you anyway.
So it was a sore point?
Oh, it was. I have to get my hands on him some of these days, please God.
1970, you say you wrapped up, you finished in 70. What happened after that? Where did you go then?
I went to the vocational school in Virginia. And I progressed to be a fungi technician.
Did it work?
I say I progressed to be a fungi technician, so you can figure that one out.
Tell us more about it.
No, that's all. Do you agree with that?
You look well, I'm telling you this. Siobhan, what about yourself? Are we talking about the same years here?
Yeah, near enough the same. Actually, we were talking about it earlier on, and Mummy often tells the story about how Rosaleen's sister pushed our Helen, my sister, into the nettles. We used to have the plantain. Do you remember the plantain?
The
Plantain. We used to call it the plantain. It was the trees and it was the height at the front of it. And Gabriel, Rosaleen's sister, knocked and our Helen, off the wall into the nettles, and Mummy going mad when Helen landed home. So different bits and pieces. The different games and Tig and the King of the Castle and that.
King of the Castle was a big game, all right.
Paddy McNamee stealing the towel on the way home and throwing it up in the trees. That was very important that time around our house. The towel didn't come home. And the teachers were looking for it the next day. It was still over the trees. No. Go on ahead.
Now, you talk about Rosaleen and you were pals. Who were the other people? Who did you sit beside? Was it this one here?
I don't think so. I think there's about a year between us or whatever else. I don't know. B.J. Brady and Jacqueline Riley and the McGiffins were still here, yeah. Oh, and the Rileys, and they're not here tonight at all. Joseph Brendan's, the girls. I didn't see Anne or Eileen or Patricia. Yeah. But there's none of them here tonight. So maybe tomorrow.
All right. Was that hard, Rosaleen? Was it very hard? We want to embarrass this one another wee bit.
What?
Was this hard? What Well, I suppose if you're not going to forgive Lorcan Kennedy,
Oh, I'm going to meet him tomorrow.
you're hardly going to forgive me either, I wouldn't think.
I'm going to get him tomorrow.
Siobhan and Rosaleen. All right,
Thank
thanks.
you very much.
Okay. Be careful. There you are. Four Sherdons here. Four Sherdons from... Would you believe it? I forgot the townland already, Pat. Drummond, is right. Now, we talked to Pat before. We're going to talk to Evelyn. Briefly, you'd be sort of in and around the same area as myself.
That's right. Yes.
Do you mind telling them? 1950 what?
7, is it? No. Put it,
I
Tommy.
think it could be...
What did you ask me? I couldn't hear what you
we're
said.
talking about when we started school. I think it was around
What year did we start
1956,
school?
was it?
1957.
57?
Yeah, that I
right.
started.
So that was in and around the same time that Miss Rooney started here.
Yes. When Miss Rooney came, I was just 1 year there when Miss Rooney came. And I was into senior infants. Then she came. I remember her well. Well, I had Miss Shoot for the first year. Yeah.
Did you like the school?
Yes, it was nice. Yeah, I did. I enjoyed it.
See, people are sometimes a wee bit afraid to say, oh, we didn't like it, it was a horrible place, or whatever the case might be. It mightn't have been horrible, but there were people that didn't like it, and we were no exceptions. But you're telling us you got on well.
Oh, yeah, I liked my school. There was no year that I didn't like. I was very happy.
Who did you sit beside, or who sat beside you?
Concepta McNamee. Pauline Brady, I think, at one stage.
Did you like the homework, Evelyn?
Not so nice, no. Not really. But we had to do it. Had to get on with it and do it.
It was a bit difficult when there was games to be played maybe in the evening when you went home, and then had to start into that.
You had to spend several hours doing homework. Remember, you wouldn't be allowed out to play till everything was done. And when you had finished the homework, then you could go out to play.
Now, just finally and briefly before we wrap this part of it up with you, and that is that people are always curious to know where people are now. Where did they go? Where are you now?
In King's Court, only 17 miles from Virginia. I'm there now 14 years.
And how many of a family have you?
2 boys. They're at school in Ballinamony in Bailieborough.
So you did well. Claire, or Evelyn rather, thanks. Claire it is. Claire, how are you? If we didn't get you with the right boot, we got you with the left one.
Just like, yeah.
You were a little bit later starting,
I
obviously.
was, yeah, a year or two after Evelyn.
Just a year or two.
Yeah.
So you popped into Teresa Rooney at the time. What do you remember of it?
Well, I don't remember that much really, just remember just in and out to school, that's all. I don't remember that much about it now.
Did you like it when you were at it?
Yeah, it was okay, yeah, I did, yeah. Yeah, I did, yeah.
What do you think of the school, the past pupils reunion? Do you think it was a silly thing, or is it a good idea?
No, it's a good idea, it is, yeah. I met a good lot of friends now. Few.
Were you talking to anyone in particular this evening so far that you haven't seen in a long time?
Yeah, a few of the Fitzsimonses. I was talking to them, I was delighted to meet them. Yeah. Connie Fitzsimons and Raymond Fitzsimons.
And just as I mentioned to Evelyn, they want to know, where are you now?
I'm living outside Ballyjimstuff, a place called Correagh.
And you're married to a fella called?
McCabe, Sean McCabe.
And there are little McCabe's, how many?
5. Yeah, 4 boys and 1 girl. Yeah.
No, was that hard?
No, it's okay now, yeah.
Bernadette.
I started, so it's okay.
Bernadette, what about yourself? We're going to have to pull you out a little bit here so as that they can get a proper look at you. See, when you keep looking in there and shaking and smiling, and they keep looking at you, say, God, she's a fine looking woman, that one, and she's a product of Correagh School. And that's it in a nutshell.
That's it.
Were you the youngest?
Yes, I was the youngest.
What age were you in 1971?
In 1971, let's see, I would have been 11.
Isn't that a sneaky way of finding out
Yes,
what
it
age?
is.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
So you'd have been 11 in 1971, so that means that you started back during the mid-60s or thereabouts.
Yeah, 65 when I started school at.
Were they good days?
All to bring me.
You had, of course. You were lucky insofar as
I was lucky.
Right.
Yeah.
it took a little bit of the burden off, and I presume it was a burden.
Oh yes, yeah, it was. Yeah. Sure, we got there.
What about the going to and coming from school? Just like the other side, you had your own share of crack over the other way. Out to the cross, up the hill, Corrigan's shop, the whole works went along with it.
Oh, lot. Oh, we had great fun. Great fun. To and from school.
What would have been your favourite subject at school?
Geography. Like geography. English.
I like the way you didn't mention the Irish.
No, I didn't like it.
So there you are. So where are you now, Bernadette? You're
I'm
in Bailieborough.
Yes, in Bailieborough. 2 kids, girl and a boy. The girl is 13 and the boy is 9.
Now, we talked to the 4 of you, we talked to Pat a bit early, and then we talked to Evelyn, and we talked to Claire, and we talked to you, but you also have another sister, Marie.
Marie, yes, Marie. She's in Correagh, and she has 4 kids. She has 3 girls and 1 boy. So she's in good form, no bother on her, great form.
Well, that's good. We're delighted to hear that because she has been through that.
She went through a lot.
She had her share of trouble.
Yes, she did, surely.
Do we expect to see her over the weekend?
Yes, she's coming down tomorrow night. She said she'd come tomorrow night.
So, finally, Bernadette Sheridan, how are you fixed for a song?
Oh, I wouldn't be a great singer now. No, I wouldn't take that on.
Will we push you?
No, not at all.
We'll help you?
No, not at all.
No go?
No.
All right.
No, I wouldn't be one of them ones now.
Okay, Bernadette, thanks for talking to us.
Thank
All
you,
right.
Michael.
Hold this.
Ready to go?
Yes.
I have Mickey Tynan here with me tonight, and I'd just like to, after him kind of sussing out whoever else felt about Correagh School, I'd like to turn the tables on him and ask him what's his great memories of the Lorgan School and our Correagh School and some other memories of the Correagh area. Welcome, Mickey. You're after doing a lot of hard work here tonight, and I'd like to ask you what's your first memories of Correagh School here?
First of all, you're very sly. And you're also very quick. And you're cheeky. And you're a great character. And that was a good bit of thinking. I'm delighted with that. And if you want to know what I thought about Correagh School, and obviously people sometimes are a little bit reluctant to say exactly how they felt about the school, I would have to say, and I've heard a lot of different stories from different people going around when we're putting the little bits and pieces of the book together, and we got different reactions about the school, and I would have to say that there were some of them that weren't all that pleasant. A lot of people had not so nice memories, I'd have to say that. But what I would have to say personally, that I felt I got on very well at school. Now, I finished up in Correagh School. I wasn't in UCD or, as somebody said on Liscray Cross one night, in UDC or any of these places, but I enjoyed my stint at Correagh School. I was about 12 months, I think, with Miss Chute, and I can remember it very well, coming into school the first day, being introduced to Miss Chute, and I can also remember that it was teeming rain out of the heavens. I remember it being a very wet day, and that left it very miserable for me. But before I came at all, I can remember my late sister Rosie preparing me with a face cloth and a little wipe around the hair. You know, we hadn't a shave then, of course, and a little rub, and coming off to school on a very wet day. I spent 12 months with Miss Chute. Then from Glencar in Sligo arrived Teresa Rooney, whom I found to be very, and I will have to say it here, I found her to be very pleasant. She was also very shy. She was also a little bit conservative, I suppose, insofar as that the shyness maybe brought that into her, but she was a very gentle person, and I had great time for her. And I would have to say, and I mean this sincerely from the bottom of my heart, that for the number of years that I spent with Rory Eames, I never have a bad word to say about him. I really got on very well with him. Maybe it's that I was not too bad, I don't know what it was, but I had great time for him. I can never recall getting a slap of any description at school. That may seem strange to say, because I do know, and I have spoken to people that have got the odd tip here and there. No, I didn't.
Well, I wouldn't say there's too many have said the same thing about their school days as you and Michael here tonight. But leaving the teachers for the moment, have you met people here tonight that you may have met for quite a while, or was there several people that you enjoyed meeting here tonight that maybe only for this occasion you would probably never meet, or maybe certainly wouldn't meet them in the distant future?
Yeah, well, there was one lad in particular, and I know that he was home. He's been away for 40 years, and this is a very dodgy occasion insofar as that when you talk about the years and the days and the dates, people immediately, they get out the calculators and they start trying to piece together what age who is. But it does make a bit of difference. People have been very good, have been very fair. I was talking to one fella tonight and I haven't seen him since he went away when he was 11 years of age, and that's just over 40 years ago, which means that I was only about 5-year-old at the time, and that was Sean McCone here from beside the school. And I know that he was home a few times, but I met him for the first time. I met a lot of other people under the circumstances that you are now, holding the microphone, but I haven't had the opportunity to talk to them as I would like to. But no doubt that we will. He was one, and there are more, and there'll be many more.
Just on the outing itself, it seems to be a very worthwhile outing, Michael. This is all part of it, getting people to talk, getting people to know other. Should it be more? It's more of a community spirit, and it brings the community together. And it's one way of people meeting each other that wouldn't have met for a long, long time. What's your views on actually making it? Having such an outing maybe every 4 or 5 years or whatever?
Yeah, well, you see, unfortunately for an outing or an event like this, it's only sort of a once-off thing. There'll never be another past pupils reunion. And the other thing is that, of course, people are, I suppose, sick and sore and tired from time to time, meeting at funerals and meeting at weddings and all this type of thing. So for that reason, this is a good idea, but you can't have it again. But I suppose to go further into your question and to put it into more perspective, to have people talking, to have more get-togethers, to get people face to face, there's nothing like talking. If you keep talking, it solves, even if there's a row in the camp, it sorts the thing out. If there's a row in the house, if you keep talking, you'll get it ironed out. And for that reason, I think our country today needs an awful lot more of that. And the 9th of August will be remembered for different reasons in some parts of this country. But the 9th of August in 1996 will be remembered for something else.
I can say absolutely no more, and well said, and delighted to talk to you, Michael. Thank you.
What about yourself now? Let's turn it on you now for a minute. Hang on here now for a minute. It's not that simple. You don't get away from it. When did you start the school, Paddy?
Oh, I don't right know. I started about 1960. I'd say Mr. Rooney was my first teacher to up as far as second up as far as third class. Mr. Rooney, I never had anyone else, and I never had anyone else, only Mr. Houston after that. Although Master Eames was here. While I was up to second class, I wasn't actually, although I was sent in on a few occasions, and I did have to be sent out to Master Eames, and he dealt with me appropriately.
Well, there you are. You misbehaved, obviously.
Well, in Mr. Rooney's view, I did. I didn't think so myself, but Mr. Rooney thought I did.
But looking back on it now, there were good old days. There was a lot of good days there as well.
There was a lot of great times. Perhaps it's not right, but the tricks we used to play when we went out to the master's class, Master Houston, he used to have a little sleep after dinner every day. And well, our class was myself and T.J. Riley, Jim Mulvey, James E. Kane, and we really weren't that settled when Master Houston was asleep, and we'd be firing papers at him and painting his face and putting marks on his head. And in fact, myself and TJ used to come back in the evening when the school would be closed, break in and steal his stick. But then again, he'd send us out the next day to get another one, and we'd go out and get another one. But it done us no harm.
Not a bit.
Not a bit.
Not a bit. Had you always your eye on the football? Obviously had, because your late father was a member of he was on the Cavan 33 panel, and it was in the blood.
Well, there never were that many organised games. We used to play out, there'd be 10 on one side and 10 on the other, and you just kick the ball up from one end to the other. It used to be quite good contests. Jim Mulvey was a very good footballer. Seamus Nolan was quite good and didn't play much after. There was a lot of good players, you know. It was very enjoyable, footballing.
Were you involved at any stage in the Lurgan and Lisgrays, or was that a sort of dying out at that stage? No?
I wasn't really involved. It had died out at that stage. Lurgan had started a team of their own. Hughie Dowd had started. Lurgan had formed about 2 years before that, and the Lurgan Lisgray thing was just gone at that stage. You know, I never played in any of those.
So there you are, I suppose, in a nutshell, looking back on it though, down through the years and from you left school and your graduation period, if you like, where the football was concerned, it has been good to you in many ways also.
It's been quite good, and well, I have got the main enjoyment out of it. It's not been good to me. It has been my life so far, and we are playing All Ireland semi-final tomorrow. I don't want to miss that opportunity. Getting that in, we're playing the All Ireland semi-final tomorrow.
Right.
I think it's over 35s.
Round again. Come on, let's go.
Well, it's day 2 of the Correagh School past pupils reunion on, I suppose, under miserable weather conditions. But who cares? Everybody's enjoying themselves. It's all celebration time, and that's what it's all about. And history, to an extent, repeating itself. No, it wasn't Paddy Terry with the bull, that was Benny Farley, but it was very appropriate, certainly, for the occasion that's in it. Let's continue now to have a chat with some people. This time, we're going to talk to a man from the townland of Trimagolin and his wife, who is a native of Longford, and that is, of course, Paddy O'Reilly. Paddy, tell me, first of all, any little memories at all about the school days and when you trotted off first?
Well, I brought Benny O'Reilly to school first, and he wouldn't take my hand. He'd stand up and wouldn't come on, and he'd say, "Go you, and I'll go." Mm-hmm. So then when I was informed about the school reunion, I rang him up and I asked him, was he going to it? And oh yes, he well, says if you're going, I'll go. Right. Oh, see, that's history repeated itself.
So what you're telling me is that he was lagging behind.
Oh, lagging behind.
And he was waiting his chance to maybe get skipping back.
No, not really. No, I wouldn't say that. It's just he was playing very independent. Right. You know. Right. See, okay. He said, "I'm a big man now, right?" Right.
Yeah. Roughly what year are we talking about here?
Well, about
1929.
1929, about. 1929, it'd be that, yeah. Yeah.
Was it difficult for a lad like you starting off school? Did you find it hard?
No, not really. No.
And how did you cope with the situation?
Oh, I used to walk on and then he'd follow me till I got him into Miss Chute. Once I got him into the school, that was it, right?
You had no option then?
No option then.
Nor neither had you, of course.
Pardon?
Nor neither had you.
Neither had I, that's correct.
Did you like the school?
Very good, yeah. Very nice. Miss Chute was very good, yeah. Right.
Any other memories from it, going to and coming from school? What happened? Obviously you came past Lisgray and crossed by the Kilmans in that area.
That's right. Well, we used to play a bit of football right in the field at the back of the school here, right? And we did work up a minor team, right? Mm-hmm. Played Ballyduff and Ballyjamestoff and a few other teams at the time as schoolboys. Mm-hmm. Right?
Were you a keen pupil? Were you a good interest in the work you did at the school?
Good interest, yes. I was a very keen pupil, right? Mm-hmm. But I like sport, right? Mm-hmm. Principally Gaelic football, right?
Now this is your wife, Rita. Rita's from Longford.
That's right.
So where did you meet Paddy, Rita?
I met him in Dublin. Actually, in a dance in Parnell Square. And in 1948, and we were married in 1950, which is 46 years this year.
You have it well counted, I can tell you. Once the years roll
5
on.
children and 16 grandchildren.
5
children, 16 grandchildren.
So you didn't do
bad, yes. Not bad at all.
Are you finished?
I'm finished, yes. Yes, finished. Well, unless I take on a...
You're in line for a bit of a tip on the jaw. Yeah. What about the games, when you talk about being fond of sport, the games that you played around the schoolyard then? Was there much fun outside?
A fair amount of fun. We tried a bit of hurling as well, and a bit of soccer. That was keeping the ball on the ground. No.
Is it true to say, or can you tell me a little bit more about One of your parents, certainly your dad, that he was involved in a bit of teaching as well, was he?
Well, he was a head school teacher in the old days when education was banned in Ireland. And not my father now, but my great grandfather, right? It'd be he teach the kids behind now at fort. We had a fort on the land, and I think the yeomen discovered him, and I think they've done. He got a bit of a term. Right.
So obviously, with so many O'Reillys and Smiths and what have you in this area, that's where the nickname, I presume, would have come in on you.
That's right, Paddy the Master, right? That's right. Yeah.
Were you conscious of that?
No. I'm very proud of it, right?
Proud of it. Why wouldn't you, said he?
That's right.
So where did you get your first communion and confirmation?
Lurgan in church, right? Lurgan church. I think confirmation was in Virginia.
That's right.
That's right.
That's right. But you resided just in the parish of Killincare, would that be right?
That's right. Just 100 yards in the other side of the river, right?
Could I ask you, is it long since you've been around this area?
Oh, I'd be here once every year or so. Right.
So it's nothing new to you?
Nothing new, no,
right.
Not really.
So when you received a little letter back a few months ago about a past pupils reunion, what were your first thoughts?
Yeah, I was delighted, right? I look forward to coming, yeah. I was very happy about it.
Paddy's going to do a little stint for us. What about yourself, Rita? Are you into the music or sport or any of that?
No, I'm not a bit musical. No, I don't sing. No. Did a bit of sport in my younger day, like a bit of camogie or...
I can't sing either, but I do.
Does he do a bit of this in the house, and if so, is he hard to listen to or easy to listen to?
At the children's birthdays and different things, there's a couple of them fairly good singers, so they all join in and have a bit of a sing-song.
Right.
Yeah,
So
little state occasions and that, you know.
So what are you going to do for us?
This is a monologue by Fred O'Donovan, a brother of Harry O'Donovan, right? There is a bridge below the town, I'll have you all to know. It's broken and it's tumbling to the ground. It was there we used to gather in the evenings long ago, sitting on the bridge below the town. We'd congregate there every Sunday morning after Mass, watching all the lads and lass go by, talking politics and horses and the weather and the crops, sitting on the bridge below the town. As for learning, our schoolmaster could compare with all the best. His equal in the classroom couldn't be found. Talking Irish, French and German, he was always at his best, sitting on the bridge below the town. But that was years and years ago, we've sons as big and tall, at the dance halls and the talkies they are found. For times are always changing and they see no fun at all, sitting on the bridge below the town.
Good lads. Well done, Paddy. You can do that one in a second. Right. Okay. Just before you go, and let us talk briefly again for a moment about the school. Is there any incident that happened at the school that you never forgot? A funny one, or a serious one, or maybe a sad one for that matter?
See now. Not really. No, not really. Never a sad one. And always a joyful one, right?
Lots of devilment.
That's right. Yes, that's right.
Sure, that's what it's all about. And you were with Miss Chewett and also
That's
Master
right,
Eames.
and
Were
Master Eames.
You weren't here in Tommy Sheridan's time, were you?
No, not really. I left school in 1932. I finished here.
Right.
Went to Dublin then, right?
So you're in Dublin since.
That's right.
And it worked well.
It worked.
Right, okay. You can do one out first.
Right. Irene, good night. Irene, good night. Good night, Irene. Good night, Irene. I'll see you in my dreams. Last Saturday night I got married. Me and my wife settled down. Now me and my wife are parted. I'm gonna take another stroll downtown. Irene, good night. Irene, good night. Good night, Irene. Good night, Irene. I'll see you in my dreams. Sometimes I live in the country. Sometimes I live in town. Sometimes I get a great notion to jump into the river and drown. Irene, good night. Irene, good night. Good night, Irene. Good night, Irene. I'll see you in my dreams.
Well, come back, Paddy Riley, to Correagh School. Come home, Paddy Riley, to me. And that's exactly what he did. Well done there, Paddy, and indeed Rita as well. John Lynch, how are you?
Right.
That's
Very good form, yeah.
That's the
Anyway,
main. That's
yeah.
the main thing. John's from Drummond, and just to, inform people that might be wondering who the different faces were, because people change over the years,
Yes,
John, as you're
yes,
well
yeah,
aware.
yeah.
So you're a brother of Lorcan's, and where did you come in that
I
salmon?
was second.
You were second.
of the family.
Right.
And we are the only family, I believe, that's intact.
Mm-hmm.
7 of us that are we're the only ones that are all living around in Ireland, and good and fitting well at the stage.
Right.
Fairly good, yeah.
Right. So where are you yourself then?
I'm in Milltown in Dublin.
In Dublin.
Dublin, yeah. I went in 1936. Still there.
Right. Tell us a little bit about your school days and when you started, roughly, to the nearest 4 or 5 years. You don't have to put a figure on.
Yeah, well, I suppose I started probably about 1921, I suppose, to go to school. I haven't the exact date, but it would be around that time. My sister was older, and she, I suppose, was the person that followed more or less, But God, there were good times then, we enjoyed ourselves, and we weren't anything better than anybody else, but still survived.
So you would have been one of these people starting in roughly 1921, coming to a relatively new school that was only about 3 years old.
How old was it then?
We're talking about 1918.
Oh, is that right? Yeah.
Right.
Well, it was only that my sister, the oldest, I suppose, she would be nearly the first year that it opened. I suppose would be here, and.
Would it come as a bit of a surprise to you, or maybe you know this already, that this school that was in existence from 1918 to 71, and it's now closed 25 years, so it was 53 years serving the community, 16 townlands and a few from outside as well, that there would have went something like 900 pupils through it for that
Really,
number of years.
that was a big number, wasn't it? You wouldn't think that could be possible, but then when you study it, I suppose, close enough, it's easy enough to understand it. But,
Can you tell us anything about the games you played at school?
well, the football, of course, Gaelic football, and it was all we knew about then, of course, but we had schoolboy teams, and there were matches, of course, and I remember Father Jimmy Donohoe and a few other fellas, that were on the team then, and
that was the nicer side of it. Can you tell us anything about the little rows that would take place down at the bridge here down the road?
Yes, well, I remember there was a Philip Brady. The only fight I ever had in my life at school was with him. And I don't know how it came about anyway, but we had the fight going home, and I'll always remember it. And we really fought hard, and I think I won the match anyway. But we were so badly marked that the teacher, Master Eames, asked us the next day what happened. But I went to school, but my face was all marked, and he didn't come for a couple of days. But that was the only real fight. The only fight that I ever had at school was with him.
You won it on points.
I won it on points.
Right. Did you make up afterwards?
Of course we did. I suppose we did, yeah. And then Father Jimmy Fitzsimons was more or less a classmate of mine, and his sister Nancy.
Do you remember or recall anything about a terrible fall of snow that came while you were at school?
No, I don't. No, I can't remember that. I can't remember that in my time. No, what year would that have been?
I wouldn't have a clue, but it was back, I think, in the early
No,
30s.
I don't remember. I don't remember anything like.
Maybe it didn't snow then, John.
Well, probably it didn't. But there was nothing very. There was nothing very serious in the fall of snow now while I was at school. And I'm quite sure that I'd remember it if there was, like, you know.
Mhm. Now, you claim to say to me that they were good old days when you were at school. Do you mean that when you say that?
I enjoyed them, like, you know. And when I look back on it now, they were great days as compared with the hell for leather carry on that now, like, you know, it's we're easy going, and I suppose teacher was nice, and Master Eames, Miss Tute in my time, and sure they were reasonable, like, you know. They wouldn't hammer hell out of you for nothing anyway, like, you know, and sure we survived, I suppose.
Indeed. Did you ever think that, you know, that you'd be coming back here maybe 60 years later to something like this?
No, it never occurred to me that never. But you know, the people that started this, whoever was the start of it, they deserve to get great credit. They really did such a job that people must stand back and think when you go around and see the amount of work that went into this, and the organisation, and the enjoyment and the memories that it's bringing to so many people. It was a wonderful idea.
You think they'll get to heaven?
God, they deserve more than that. Really, it was such a great thing to think up and go through it, and the amount of work that must have went into all of this.
All right,
It's really a really great credit to them, and I'm delighted to get this opportunity to congratulate them and say well done for bringing back so many memories and so much enjoyment to so many people. Really, I can't get over it.
There you are. That's John Lynch from Drummond. John, thanks for that. All right. Yes, indeed. Well, we used to know her as Anne McMillan. Anne, first of all, what's your married name? Because there's so many chopping and changing on names down through the years.
Anne O'Connor.
O'Connor. That's a very plain, simple one. And where are you now, apart from sitting here? You're in Donegal, is it?
Yeah, Letterkenny in Donegal.
Right. What's the memories of being in Correagh here? Not great?
No, can't use Pat lighting the fire every morning.
Right.
I don't know really. They were good times. We enjoyed them.
How long were the McMilers in this area?
About 3 years. Yeah.
3 years, not more.
No, I don't think so.
Right.
From about must have been 67 to 70, I think.
So what classes then would you have been through?
4th and 5th, and then in the middle of 6th, we went to Cavan town.
Right. Did you not like school? That's a different way to put it to you. Well, at least you've been honest.
I don't know. I suppose we didn't think about it. We just
Trod along.
Yeah.
Right. And then you moved from here to Cavan.
Yeah, Cavan town.
Was that a bit of a change?
Yeah. Went into the Poor Clares in Cavan town. That was a big change.
That was a big change. Where did
they were very strict.
Yeah. For some people that mightn't be aware, where did the McMilers originate from initially?
Well, my father's from Mayo, and Mammy's a Donegal woman, and we came from Donegal when we came here.
So there's a rumour going around that Mayo are in an All-Ireland semi-final, and that Donegal are going out of it this year.
That's right. Except my husband's from Wexford, so he's in the All-Ireland too.
So you're going to win on
both counties.
What about how many of you were in it?
5. John was the class ahead of us, and then myself and Pat were in the same class.
Right.
And Jacinta, and then Dan was just here for a while.
Right.
He was just starting school.
And is it you that's supposed to be the best singer of them all?
No, I can't sing at all.
No, I was told you could.
No, I'm afraid
Are you going
not.
to sing for us now?
Sorry.
Will you whistle for us?
I couldn't do anything like
Have
that.
you any yarns?
No.
Who are your friends at school?
Lorna Riley, I think, was in my class, and Bridget Tynan, your sister, and can't really remember then. You know, Pat was in Seamus Nolan, Paddy McNamee. I think they were all around our time. Right. Rosemary Riley.
Were they the lads you had your eye on?
That's right.
Then?
I didn't know you then.
You have to be careful here. So there you So that's it. Do you want to keep going?
No, thanks.
You want to leave it at that?
Thank you.
All right, okay.
Okay, thanks very much. Thank you.
Now then, the show must go on, and this time we're joined by Owen Dunn. Owen, it's been a long time, to put it just briefly.
Yeah, been many, many years.
How long, roughly?
35 years.
Is that since you emigrated, or?
No, 39 since I emigrated.
39
yeah.
since you emigrated, right. And what about the first days at school?
First day at school, very small recollection. Can't remember too much about them.
Why is that? It's not that you're not getting old. You're on hold for the last number of years. Oh, that's the rumour that's been going around.
And not on hold, I wouldn't think so. Not at all. It's just the memory must be going. The brain is shrinking.
Right. What about all right then. Coming to school and the fellas you met up with on the route.
Yeah, the Ledger's family, the Tynan family, Farley family, the Brady family, many more which were on the way. The Caldwells. That's about it really. I can't.
Did you get up to much mischief on the way to school?
Not a great lot. Sometimes on the way home on the bit of ice by Jack Brady's. Never always held us in. Sometimes had wet feet, but got there and then explained when we got home what happened and suffer the consequences.
Were you one of those that liked apples?
Yes, we had the odd one. So not too many because they might spoil the dinner.
That was a venial sin then, of course.
Oh, it was, yeah. But wouldn't be looked down on now, I wouldn't think. We've forgotten about that as well.
Yeah. There was a story told one time, and you might be able to put this into perspective. It's just after coming into the machine here, and that is that up the schoolyard, that apparently the ball went into the drain here. You were running for it, and somebody come along and give you a bit of a tip, and you went in. You had nothing. You were barefooted. Do you remember? Can you recall that?
No, I can't. I can't recall that one.
Yeah. Well, it happened. Yeah, it happened. Yeah. You got the
Did
jump.
I get upset?
You went in. You went in head over heels into the muck.
Yeah. No, I can't remember that one.
Well, it'll come up, I'm sure, sooner or later. There were good times, but there were, I suppose, also some of them not so good.
Yeah, there were some perhaps not so good, but we took the rough with the smooth, as I say. So I suppose it was an enjoyable time.
Did you always look forward to the summer holidays from the school?
Yes, hoping to earn some money if there was any work going and spend it in the town and whatever was going.
Was there ever any problem with Jack Dawes when you come back from the holidays?
Yes, there was. Lighting the fire could be a problem because they had a tendency to put a lot of sticks up there and whatever else they could find. So that had to be cleared before everybody was smoked out of it.
What about when you finished up school, some of the last days? Can you recall any of that, or the excitement that was going inside? I presume you were looking forward to finishing it up?
Yeah, there was a bit there, but probably wondering what I would do after that. But as it happens, just working for the local farmers is what was the main thing. And I'd done a part apprenticeship at Dan McDonald's garage in Ballyjimstuff. Cycled there and back, of course, and not a lot of money involved, but I enjoyed it.
Were you any good at that? Because you were very fond of the cars, and you always got a little bit of extra speed out of the cars, I think, in your younger days.
Well, yeah, there's a tendency to put the right foot down a bit further than normal and hope that it keep it in a straight line. Apart from the bends, that was.
Right. How many were in your family at home and all?
Four. Yeah.
Could you name those for me?
Yeah. There was Margaret, Tom, and Agnes. They were the three.
So you were the baby?
I'm the baby of the family, yes, indeed.
Do they still treat you as a baby, or where are the rest of them?
Not really. There's two in Birmingham and one in Wales.
And do you meet from time to time?
Oh yes, regular. We always keep in touch, yeah. Yeah.
So you're a long time over there in what part of England did you say?
Birmingham. In Birmingham all the while, yeah. From day one.
Yeah. What about the football? Did you play the ball on Liscray or here in the yard? I know obviously, but all across itself.
Just in fun, never very serious. Just to enjoy it, and did enjoy it as well. Yeah.
Could you ever see yourself coming back here to settle?
No, I don't think so. And, if I would, it'd probably be for 6 months and spend 6 months elsewhere as well. Do that type of thing rather than stay here all the while.
When did you make your mind up on that?
Probably about 10 years ago, I would think. Yeah, about 10 years ago.
Okay. So you got a letter back about 2 or 3 months ago here from the secretary here of the organising committee about a past pupils reunion here in Correagh School. What were your first thoughts on that when you opened that envelope?
I thought, good idea, I shall be there. Yeah.
And so he was.
So I was.
All right. Oh, thanks for having the chat with us.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Indeed. Well, it's a very proud record in many ways, this insofar as that our next guests on this past pupils reunion are, I suppose, unique and novel in many ways, insofar as that 3 generations attended the school. And Bridie was the first. Bridie, we're delighted to have you and to talk to you for a few minutes and to talk to you a little bit about the school days and the early days. Now, you were born, I know that you were born around 1919.
That's right.
You don't mind me saying that?
No, indeed, I don't.
So you obviously started school then mid-20s.
About it, yes. Yes.
Do you remember much about the first days?
Not really, not really.
Did you find it difficult having to start off, or
Ah, sure it was, of course, not known. Many people or many children from...
who were the people then that can you recall that you were classmates with or walked to school with? Or
Oh,
whatever?
yes, I remember her classmates, all right, was... there were 3 O'Reillys. In the same class all along the way, and I remember the desk. We 2 of us would sit on the desk, and Kitty O'Reilly and myself sat on the same desk, and then there was Anna O'Reilly, and there was I just can't remember now.
So who were your teachers? Obviously it was Miss Tude first.
Miss Tude first, and then Master Eames.
Just those 2?
Just those 2, yes.
Was there good fun at school then?
I'm sure there was, yeah. Oh, yeah.
What sort of games did you play?
Oh, well, we played camogie. And we played hide and go seek, I suppose. I don't know now.
You liked the school?
Oh, yes, I did.
But then if you liked it so much, why did you mitch? You mitched once.
Did you tell them about the smoking on the way home from school?
Did I tell him
About the smoking on the way home from school?
Yeah. No, I didn't tell him that. Yeah.
Now what was this? You were taking the pull of a fag?
Yeah. And we went down a lane, is that it?
Down Listafan Lane, was it?
Down Listafan, yes, down Listafan Lane here. And in on a gate and sat down and had our... And we'd have to gather up the pennies for the twopenny woodbine.
Were you caught in the act smoking?
Yeah, well, I think we were now.
Now, much has been said and indeed written about Paddy Terry,
Yeah.
particularly over the last few months. And let us reveal to those who may not know that, of course, you were a niece of Paddy's.
That's right, yes.
By virtue of your mother being a sister,
Being a
was it?
sister, yes.
So what sort of a character was he then?
Oh, the old type Irishman, you know.
How many of the family were in your place at home in Drumgora?
Myself.
Just yourselves?
Yes.
Right. So you were the only daughter of John and Rose?
Rose, that's right, yes.
Was it true that your late father, John, who was better known to many people than as John the Yankee,
yeah.
that he was a keen sportsman, but he had a great interest in drafts and that type of thing, and cards?
In which?
In drafts, was it, or cards?
Oh, yes, and drafts, that's right, yeah. He had a great interest in them.
How far did he take it? Did he win tournaments or competitions?
Well, I don't know now. I'd say he'd be in competitions anyhow.
Tell us the story about the weather. We all know about the weather over the last few days, but a terrible snowstorm. Now, Drumgora isn't all that big of a townland. I suppose most townlands are not. But the Drumgora where you were bred, born and reared, and the story about a terrible snowstorm that there was many years ago,
Yes.
and there was a bereavement in that house. Can you fill us in on that?
There was just my father and mother and myself living in that house. And my father used to
go visiting a cousin of his in Latoon. And he'd go a couple of times a week and bring him what he needed from the shop and all that. So then he got to the stage that he wasn't able to stay on his own. And my father brought him to live with us in Drumgora then. And
He died.
He died.
Yeah.
And
There were problems then, apparently, with the snowstorm to get the remains.
to get the
removed.
remains, yes, to get the remains to the church. And they had to get the undertaker out and get the remains brought to the church. And it had to be left in the church for 2 or 3 days.
Because of the weather conditions.
Because of the weather conditions, there was no traffic allowed on the road or able to be on the road.
You talked there a moment ago about your late father and collecting the messages from the shop and so on and so forth. And there was also a stage, of course, indeed in many houses then, and farmhouses I suppose in particular, where they would bring the eggs to the shop to sell them. Do you remember anything of that?
Oh yeah, up the lane to Brady's shop with the basket of eggs.
And this money was used for
Buying the food for the next week.
When you look back on it now and think, do you sometimes wonder where the time went? Because you're approaching 78 now.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Does time seem to have gone very quickly?
Yeah, it certainly did.
Yeah. What did you do when you left school? Where did you go?
I went home. I remember asking my father what convent or college was I going to. And he said, you're going to no one school or college. He says, you're staying at home to help me milk the cows.
Did that come as a disappointment to you?
More or less, yes.
But there was a lot of jobs to be done at home.
There was a lot of jobs to be done, and there was only himself and my mother and myself.
But that was the general run then, though, wasn't it?
Oh, yes. Yeah.
And I mean, it didn't matter whether you're a boy or a girl, the girls chimed in every bit as much,
That's
didn't
right, yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh, they did, yeah.
Now, moving on into later years and still continuing to work on the farm, of course, you were involved in many different organisations, and all, might I say, legitimate organisations as well, like the ICA and others.
Oh, yeah, ICA. I was in that for a few years, all right.
What sort of work did you carry out there?
Well, I suppose I was guild president for a while, and then I was federation president, and
You met a lot of friends in that.
Met a lot of
people
friends.
like whom, Bridie?
um,
Who were the gang that time?
now I'd have to put on my thinking cap for that.
Not to worry, I'll tell you what, we'll come back to you in a minute. You're doing very well. As we told you, of course, this is unique or novel in many ways insofar as that these three people are 3 generations that would have attended the school here in
Yes,
Correagh.
that's right.
Bridie Senior and Bridie Junior, there's moving up into the senior ranks as well, and of
Yeah.
course PJ. Maybe you come to, well, I suppose to do the decent thing, we'll stand up and we'll have a chat with you, Bridie. Your first memories of starting off at the school, what years are we talking about then?
I think I started in 71, just a couple of months before it closed down. I don't remember my first day at all. I vaguely remember coming to school here.
Had you a good time at school here?
I think so, yeah. Yeah.
You're not just telling us that now because everybody's listening.
No. I don't really remember much about it. The only thing I remember is there was goats in a field someplace. I don't know where the goats were, who owned the goats.
You're
There's
sure it
lots-
wasn't a bull?
No, it was goats, I know that. I remember Dave Simons used to chase me with frogs. That's all I remember.
And you didn't like creepy crawly things?
No, and I still don't.
Was it difficult for somebody like you and other pupils as well, insofar as that you almost, I suppose you could say you started school twice because you started here and then you had to start off again?
Yeah, I don't remember starting in Virginia even.
That's not that long ago. What are we talking about, 25?
Yeah, about 25 years ago. No, I don't remember. Do you remember?
No.
Do you remember, PJ?
No, I don't.
What year are we talking about here? When you started off?
When I started, oh dear. Oh, Michael, now you have me. I think it was about 48.
To the nearest 10, you know, don't
have it at the nearest 10 at that. Yeah. 48, 49.
With Miss Chute as well.
With Miss Chute, yeah. I don't remember very much, Michael, about my, coming to school. First, the only thing that sticks out in my mind about coming to Correagh School was we'd be walking over the road, and the road wasn't tarred over there at the time. Big potholes in it and lumps of stones in it. And only Dunn and James Ledwich and a few of the boys would be all coming over. And during Lent, Peter Riley's mother, Mrs. Riley, over at Liscray, always went to Mass. And she'd come out Paddy Riley's hill on a big high bicycle and no brakes and us lined across the road. And the roars were on the squeeze were on the big high bicycle. I remember that very, very much.
Right.
And then Tommy the Killman, great memories of Tommy the Killman. So it was, those are the things I remember. But actually going to school, I don't remember very much about it.
You mean inside?
Inside, yeah. There might be one or two little incidences that would come to mind, all right.
What about outside then in the schoolyard?
Ah, well, yeah, sure, we always had the football, and so we had an odd fisticuffs match too. And, good fun, good fun.
Do you say that there were some terrible tiffs between Lurgan and Liscray, and I'm sure you know as much about those as I would, and that sometimes that these would wind up or finish up at the end of Lisnafana Lane or down at the bridge? Was that true?
Oh yeah, that happened with Lurgan and Liscray. That rivalry went on for years and years and years, and it would end up, when it gets serious, it'd end up at Lisnafana Lane or down at the bridge. But there was no one ever killed anyway. Might have a black mark on your eye or something like that, but that'd be all. And the next day we were the best of friends.
They don't come up as often as they used to, those duels with Lurgan and Liscray?
No.
At the more senior level?
No, they're all finished now. Hopefully.
One every 100 years or thereabouts.
Yeah.
That'll
be about it.
Right. Now, I just want to talk to you briefly because, as I said, it is unique and novel insofar as that we have 3 generations here in all 3 of you that would have attended the school, and that to think and even sit down and think about it, and I suppose many of us won't think about it until maybe 2 or 3 weeks' time, insofar as that a past pupils reunion became a reality when at one stage it was something that was only part of a conversation.
And that's true, Michael. When I was asked first about it, it was one Sunday night in January, I won't forget it, and it was a cold, frosty Sunday night, and the phone rang, and I answered the phone. It was Francis Fitzsimons telling me what he had in mind, and I said, right, so we'll have a meeting, and we'll see what the general feeling is of the people. Should we go ahead with it or should we not? So we had a meeting the following week, and we had 13 or 14 people at it. We had a meeting, we arranged another meeting then for the following week again, and we had 22 at it. So we said, right, let's go for it. So we went for it.
So as secretary of this organising committee, you must be very pleased, and we're only into the 2nd day with the whole thing.
Yeah, it's very encouraging, Michael, after all the hard work that we put into it, to see the turnout that we've had last night and the turnout